Hey guys, how's it going? It's Dominic again with another one of your videos. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2017. Yet about to do another one of my brief videos. As you can see behind me, we have this white snow. This is all New York weather right here. This is all that increment, all that snow. They're saying about 10 to 18 inches, and it's supposed to wear off sometime this afternoon. So again, I come to you to make one of my brief videos. Those that know me on YouTube know that I vaguely make this type of long videos, but I feel that deep down in my heart and soul, there is a mist of viewers that are awaiting to hear things like this. And something that I wanted to share with you, because it's not often that I make this kind of videos, but I feel that there is someone out there that needs to hear this, that needs to be encouraged. So I will share this with you. And this is something that has been deep for me for a very long time. I will share some things, and I want to see if most of you can relate to some of the things that I've been dealing with. So I hear a lot of people on the internet, especially on YouTube, talk about things along the lines of Crohn's disease and colitis and IBS and IBD. And I want to share this with you. For those that don't know what colitis is, it's basically the swelling or the inflammation of the lining of the colon, which is inside your stomach. And symptoms of that include bleeding from the rectum. When you go to use the restroom, you may notice that there is blood in the stool, and you might feel some cramps from time to time, and it's a constant need to go to the bathroom every 10 or 20 minutes, and it's a series of frequent bowel movements, frequent episodes, and some of these things can arrange out of random. They just come out of nowhere. So for those that don't know what that is, that's what it basically is. And you know, this is very troubling to a person's life because it prohibits them from having to do things. I myself, I will share this with you, and it's very brief, and if most of you can relate to this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So about 5.5 years ago, I think it was about 5 years ago, I was going to school, I was going to college, and one morning in September, I wake up to these pains in my stomach, those random stomach pains, and I go to the restroom one day and I notice that there is blood leaking in my stool. And I'm wondering to myself, what is causing all of this? Now, some of this can range from either the food or our diet, or it's just a growth process. And I got this very early. And so that following spring semester, May of 2012 semester, I go into the doctor's office one day, and the doctor comes over to me. I just had a procedure done to me about 4.5 years ago, and that's when the doctor came over to me and told me that I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. That's the term, ulcerative colitis. And it's that kind of situation that has held me from progressing and moving on with my life and going forward, because every now and then I would walk out and I would have these random episodes just for no reason. And this is the thing that has held me back for a long time, and so I had to be placed on different medications and different regimes. And I've had, in the past 4 years, I've had up to maybe about 3 procedures done to me. And so I feel like I needed to share that with you, because I know that there are some of you out there that are wondering to yourselves, why is this happening to me? Why am I constantly getting up and running to the restroom every now and then if I'm in the middle of a meeting, or if I'm at a job dealing with customers? Like, why is this going on to me? And I want you all to know that if you are someone that's in that 18 to 30 category, know that you are not alone, that there is someone out there, especially like those of us like me, that are going through the same things, and it's a constant struggle every day. Now again, I'm not usually one of those people that typically airs out his or her business out there, but again, I do feel like there is someone in the midst of viewers that are waiting to hear things like this, that need to be encouraged. So I wanted to share this with you, and the story goes even deeper, when I leave school, when I graduate school and I landed my first good job, though it wasn't in the field of my study, it was still a backup job. I was a data entry reception, not a receptionist, but a typist. So I would basically type information into the computer because I am a very good typer. Typically I type anywhere from 50 to 60 words per minute. So I landed my first good job a month after I graduate school, and this would go on for a couple of months, about a year or so, a year and a month. And then finally I get the news one day. We all sat in the office together. It was a meeting full of 30 people, and the guy had announced that the job site was going to be closing and we were at risk of being laid off. They laid off at least 30 people, and that thing got to me. Being laid off of my first good job, it kind of stuck to my heart, and I didn't really know how to make sense of it. And so, I lost my first good job, so I had to go through the motions these next few months, and then all of a sudden, those symptoms that I have experienced from a year and a half before came back to visit me. And so I would wake up every morning and have episodes and continuously go in and out the doctor's offices and having to be placed on 7 or 8 different medications and going to the restrooms and changing up my diets. I had maybe in a total of 3 colonoscopies, and it just, those feelings, it got to me for the past 9 months or so until I can finally land my second job. And it was an experience, but in that lesson it taught me to humble myself more. So again, not to sound like I'm stumbling here, but reality really set in for me at 24 years old. Being out of school and working my first good job and then being laid off my first good job and being sick for 9 months, reality really did set in for me. It put me in a low place, and it got me thinking to myself, well, I really wasn't getting anywhere. I try to talk to people and, go through the day-to-day motions to try to calm myself, and it just seemed like it wasn't really getting anywhere, and reality really set in for me. And I didn't really know how to make sense of it most of the time. But that's when I had to come to the hard lesson that I am not all that in a bag of chips, as some people claim to be, especially being out of school and having their college degree and thinking that they're going to land their first good job. That's not how life works. It turns out that there are most of us struggling to make it out into the world, but that's not to say less, because, earning a college degree and being able to achieve those things is a first good step of dealing with reality and obtaining all that information that we learn from higher institutions of learning, going to school. So we can't discredit that. And I know it seems like I'm going off tangent, but I needed to share my testimonials because, again, there is someone out there that really needs to listen to this, because I'm not the only one that's going through this. And what I'm sharing on here, I'm also telling myself too. So don't think that this message is for those out there. This is also for me too, because we have to go through our day-to-day motions, and even now and then we have to remind ourselves that we are someone trying to make it in the world. So again, if you are someone within that 18 to 35 category that is going through those kind of health conditions like this and feeling like they are at a low place in their life, take it in stride, take it one day at a time, because we know that nothing happens overnight. Take some time, make a journal, do small things, work your way up the scale. Don't be in such a rush. I always mention this. And in some of my I have a Facebook account too, so I try to make posts that would encourage the hearts and those of those young adults to take it one step at a time. Don't be in a rush to get this job or to have this or that or the third. You ever hear that saying in the story between the tortoise and the rabbit facing the turtle in the race? And you ever hear that expression, slow and steady wins the race? It doesn't really matter how old you are. The fact of the matter is that you went and you achieved what you did. Don't rush life. Don't get into that thought process or that irrational thinking saying, well, oh, 40 or 50 is too late to achieve anything. There are those of us in our 50s and 60s, those of us in late in life that are going back to school and are trying to pursue a master's degree, or are trying to pursue higher levels of education, or are going out to travel, or are doing skydiving and all these different things that they like. It's never too late to challenge yourself. And I say this to those, and I say it to myself too, because we are a very judgmental society. When we look out into the world, we judge each other, and that brings us in a really bad place, because we are very judgmental. And that's one of the things that we really have to work on, is not being so critical of each other and saying that if you get a certain age or a certain time, then it's too late. You see, my thing is, we're all different. There are 7 billion people on this earth with different abilities, talents, skills, knowledge, and understanding. And my thing is, nobody works at the same pace. We all work in our own different pace. It may have taken this man or woman 20 years of his or her life to finish high school, but nonetheless, that person got their GED. It took me 24 and a half years before I can attain my bachelor's degree. And, I'm not in the place where I need to be right now, but nonetheless, obtaining that piece of paper is a huge step. My point is, everyone works in their own pace. So life is very unpredictable. You never know what you can have when you step out these doors. Everything is different. We can't just go out one day and say that we have this lined up and this plan is going to go the way that it should, because again, life happens to all of us. Now, I'm sure that there are most of us out there in the world that are striving to be someone, to be remembered for something that we did. And there are those of us that are becoming business entrepreneurs, or someone that likes to be a songwriter, or someone that likes to display their talents in art, their video, their creativity. There are those of us out there striving to be remembered for something. And it doesn't have to be all that big. We can't just wake up one day and expect ideas to flow just in the snap of your fingers. We can start small, even if it starts as being a YouTube blog or a Facebook blog or a Twitter blog. Start small. Start making or start blogging. Start making YouTube videos. I have a bunch of videos on my Facebook and YouTube channel. There's like maybe over 100 Facebook or YouTube videos that I post on here. And sure, they don't get as much recognition or attention as they usually would of that of an average person, but nonetheless, it is a step to achieve, and a step to get anywhere in life is to start small and to work our way up. Now, once again, I know it seems as if I'm throwing a whole bunch of randomness out there, but I like to think that you guys have an idea or a gist of an idea of what I'm trying to say to you. Basically, don't be in such a rush. Have small goals or big goals. Have goals, but being realistic, knowing what you can and what you cannot do. I, for one, always wanted to travel and to take myself on day trips and to go places, but it's all a matter of knowing what you can and what you can't afford, having a plan. I still struggle with this. As far as budgeting, even at 27, having those goals and being realistic about these goals, knowing what you can and what you can't do. Setting up those plans and just taking it one day at a time, even if it's like a small trip to the museum or maybe going to a Broadway show, things of that nature, starting from there, having those realistic expectations and not having these irrational expectations and expecting to take on a full plate of a list of duties. It's like, why handle the big stuff when you can handle the small stuff first? Don't go on to the big stuff until you finish with the small stuff, because if we go out of our way to challenge ourselves and to just jump into all the big stuff, we're going to go into some chaos later on down the road. We're going to be corrupt and we're going to be confused and we're not going to be able to understand what's going on. So taking small steps. I myself am working at this more and more every day. I'm actually learning more about myself as a person and who I am. So it's just a matter of doing these things. And, I hope those of you that are watching this YouTube video were able to understand what I was trying to say. and that this would be an inspiration to those that are our viewers, again, younger or older, doesn't matter the age demographic, but I hope you were inspired by watching this video. Now, if you are someone out there that's watching this video and you are thinking to yourself, oh, this doesn't make any sense, what is he talking about? He's just rambling, oh, he's going off tangent, I'm not inspired by this video, he doesn't do so-and-so, blah, 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 then I hope and do pray for the best of your endeavors, and, but for those of you that are watching this and are attentive to what I'm trying to say, I'm just giving out bits and pieces of information because those things are what help solve the puzzle. Like, I understand that there are those of us that are very opinionated, so I'm not going to give out any information that's factual. This is only opinionated based videos and ideas that I'm trying to get across. Once again, I want you all to know that this is not the first and this will not be the last that you will be seeing these kind of videos. So be sure to be on the lookout for when I do post videos like this, because I believe that part of the things that we can do to be an encouragement to somebody is to try to do more blogging and to make inspirational messages. So that is a step to anything, is to try to do things like this to be able to inspire someone's heart.